A very good afternoon, dear students. I hope you all are safe at your place. The thought of the day is an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. As you all know, the pandemic situation is there. You all are at home. So, this is the best time to invest in books. Read more and more books. This will provide you the knowledge and it will give you the best interest. I, Professor Sonal Agrawal, welcome you all on the digital platform of Agrawal Vidya Vihar English Medium College. This is the lecture for the subject Indian Banking and Currency System Paper 5. In the last lecture, we have completed our chapter number 1, that is the Indian banking system. In today's lecture, we are going to start with our second chapter, that is the nationalized bank. What we are going to read in this chapter, here we are going to read about the introduction of the nationalization of banks. Then the next topic that we are going to learn that why the nationalization happened, what is the objectives of the bank nationalizations, and after the bank nationalization, what are the achievements of the nationalized banks. Then, what are the limitations, or you can say the problems that is the faced by the nationalized bank? And in the last of the chapter, we are going to study the topic that is the non-performing assets (NPA). So, which are the factors that are responsible for NPA of the banks, and what are the remedies that the banker should take to reduce the level of NPA, that is the non-performing assets. So, start with the chapter basic introduction of the nationalization of the bank. So the first question is arises that what do you mean by nationalizations? So the answer is the nationalization is a process whereby a national government or the state takes over the private industry or the organization or the assets into the public ownership by an act or ordinance or some other kinds of order. In short, you can say that nationalization is a process where the private banks are converted into a government banks. It may be the national government, it may be the state government. Clear? So if any private bank is converted into the government bank, that is this process is known as the nationalization. It may be done by the act or by passing an ordinance. So there are different ways. Yeah, if the government sector is going to purchase the shares more than 50 percentage, yeah, so many ways are there to convert the private sector bank into the nationalizations one. Now we are not going to study about this processes that how the bank can be converted. Just meaning should be clear that the nationalization means the private bank is converted into the government bank. It may be the state government or it may be the national government. So this process of conversion is known as the nationalization of banks. So first of all, the first bank which is nationalized, that is the RBI, which nationalized in the year of the 1949. That is the 1st January 1949. RBI was nationalized. That is our Reserve Bank of India, apex banks in the banking institutions of the India. Then second, in the year of 1955, the Imperial Bank of India, which is popularly known as nowadays State Bank of India, is nationalized and the new name is given, that is the State Bank of India. Before 1955, the State Bank of India was known as the Imperial Bank of India. And after nationalization, the State Bank of India act as a principal agent of the RBI and handle the banking transaction all over the country, whereas the branches of RBI are not available everywhere. So the SBI, State Bank of India, act as a principal agent of the RBI. After that, in July 1969, other 14 major commercial banks were nationalized with the aggregate deposits over the 50 crores. After that, in the year of 1980, 6 commercial banks was nationalized where the aggregate deposit of over 200 crores was there. After that, our new bank in India was amalgamated with the Punjab National Bank in the year of 1993, and there is a reverse merger of the IDBI Bank Limited with the parent IDBI in the 2004. It became the IDBI Limited, and now popularly it is known as the IDBI Bank Limited is working as a public sector bank. And after that, the budget, union budget for the 2013-14 passed. In that, the financial minister has made a proposal to set up an exclusively Mahila bank in the public sector. So, in this way, there are total 23 banks that nationalized after the nationalization of RBI and SBI. That topic we already discussed in the chapter number 1 in detail about the nationalization of banks. Here, these all are the repetitions. This process we have already discussed in chapter number 1. So, I am not going to explain in detail. Just this is just a repetition for you. Now the question arises that what is the objective behind the nationalization of banks in India? What are the reasons or what are the situations that arise, the reasons to do the nationalization of banks in India? Yes, there are some responsible factors. Because of that factors, the situation arise that there is a need arise, you can say, in the market to do the nationalization process. So what are the reasons? So we are going to read about this all reason in one by one. As you can see that this question is asked in examination in the year of April 2009 and October 2013. The first objective behind the nationalization of bank in India was to reduce the monopoly practices. As you know that before nationalization or the before establishment or nationalization of RBI and the nationalization of SBI, banks are free to do any banking practices as per their own wish. There, you can say there is a monopoly in the market. All the banks are free, and the major portion, or major, you can say the major portion of the shares of the customer in the market will be in the hand of the private sector banks. So, to reduce this types of monopoly, there is a need arise about the nationalization of the banks in India. The second is the social control was not adequate. As we just discussed that all the banks are free to do the banking transaction as per their own wish. There is a no social control. Social control is there, but it is not adequate. You can say no, banks are not in the control of any authority. They are free to do the banking transaction as per their own wish, as per their own terms and conditions. They are not following the rules of the social control. So of course, this is the second limitations which arise the need of the nationalization of banks. The third reason is that to reduce the misuse of savings of public. How it is going to reduce? Of course, from the interference of the political party, use of the funds of the public as per the own wish of the banking sector. Of course, we are not granting the loan in the priority sectors or according to the plan of the government. So there are so many reasons, or you can say there are so many ways of misusing the funds or misusing the savings of the public. So again, because of this limitation, the need arise of the nationalization of banks. And after that, the fourth reason is the greater mobilization of deposits. The deposit mobilization rate was too low, you can say, and of course, especially in the rural areas. So the need arises that there should be a mobilization rate at a higher comparison to the prior one. It should be the higher. So because of that need, the nationalization become essential. After that, the advance loan to the agricultural sector, as we all know that the major portion of the public or depends on the agricultural sector for their livelihood, yeah, for their employment, you can say. So there's a need arise that more and more loan should be given for the agricultural sector, as the agricultural sector is the in the category of priority sectors, but banks are not granting the loan in such types of sector. Why? Because the profit is low and again the risk is high. The chances of NPA is high. So because of these all reasons, banks means here private banks. Private banks are not ready to grant more loans in the sector of agriculture. So to provide more loans in the field of agricultural, the need arise of the nationalization of banks. After that, there should be balanced regional development. As just we discussed that the rate of the mobilization is very low in the area of rural areas. Yeah, the mobilization rate is very low. The customers of the rural areas are very low. The deposit made by them is very low. As we discussed in the last topic, that out of the total deposit, just 25% deposit is from the rural areas. Here, now new banks and new branches were started in already developed areas. As we just discussed that in western areas, 70% new branches were started in just West Bengal. So these all are the factors, or these all are the data which shows that there are not the balanced regional development. There should be a balanced regional development for the development of any country, and because of this need, the need arise of the nationalization of banks in India. The next is the greater control by Reserve Bank. After the nationalization of Reserve Bank and after starting the Reserve Bank as the apex banks of the all the banking system, so there is a need right that all the bank must be in the control of Reserve Bank, and when it can be in control, where when all the banks are nationalized, when all the banks are government bank, and when all the banks are scheduled bank. So as we discussed in the first chapter, the data shows that the after 1991, the level or the you can say the quantity of the unscheduled bank is going to be reduced, and the number of the scheduled bank is increased. So this also need why this is so, because this is one of the main reason is the nationalization, or the private sector bank is converted into the public sector bank. So automatically they are under the control of Reserve Bank. So these all are the, you can see, uh, done because of the control, because of the need of the control over the banking system. The need arises that all the banks should be under the control of one system, and that system is the Reserve Bank. So to satisfy this need, the second need arises that to do the nationalization process of banking system in India. And the last, that is the greater stability of the banking structure. In the banking structure, there should be a stability which were not there before the nationalization of the bank. So, to maintain the stability in the banking structure, the need arises of the nationalizations. Now, let us discuss these all points one by one in detail. The first point is to reduce the monopoly practices. And we all know that initially a few leading industries are there and the business houses are there. And they are having the close relationship and the close association with the commercial banks. And you can say it is a type of interference, clear political interference, or you can say the industrial interference. They are big houses, they are big business houses, clear? They are exploiting the banking business. They exploit the bank resources in such a way that the new business or the new entity cannot be entered in the market or cannot be entered in the line of their business. So the competition can be increased in the market. So they don't want the competition. So what they are doing, they are exploiting the resources of banks. They are using the fund of the public in their own way. So to reduce this types of practices, this all possible. Why? Because this is a private sector banks. Here, private in the private sector banks, they are not in the burden to follow the rules and regulations. So they easily can be exploited by the big industries and the business houses. But if it is a public sector bank, if it is a government bank, then this types of exploitation cannot be possible. So to reduce this types of exploitation, to reduce this types of monopoly practices, yeah, there is a need arise that all the banks should be nationalized. If it is nationalized bank, then these types of exploitation cannot be possible. The bank resources can be used in a better way, and the new business units can be entered in the market. And of course, the competition level will increase, and the monopoly is going to be reduced. So these all are the reasons to do the nationalization process in banking structure of India. The second one is about the social control was not adequate. Social control means, first of all, this meaning should be clear that the social control measures of the government did not work well, as we all know that the private sector banks are not in the burden to follow the rules of the social government, which is led by the government sectors or the government authorities. Some of the private banks did not follow the regulations and the rules and regulations which is given under the social control, and thus there is a need arise to do the nationalization process in banking structure. So the control should be there, or you can say the social control should be there. Why? Because if the because of the failure of these social controls, the private banks are not in the control of governments. If the government wants to launch any new scheme for the betterment of backward areas or unbanked areas, the government was not able to do so. Why? Because private sector banks are not, you can say, contributing 100% in that particular schemes. So the social control must be there, then only the development of a particular area or the particular sector or the country is possible. So because of this objective, the nationalization become the need of that time. The next objective of the nationalization is to reduce the misuse of the savings of public. As we just discussed that exploitations was possible. Why? Because these were the private sector banks and the private sector banks can exploit the fund of the public in their own way for the betterment or you can say for the objective of profit then collect the savings from the general public and if it is in the hand of the private sector so the national interest may be neglected. They are using the funds for their own interest. They are using the funds to earn more and more profit. They are not focusing on any national interest. As we just discussed, that they are not contributing in government policies. Clear? So, if as an example is given about the 5 years plans, that government gives the priority to some of the specific sectors like agricultural and the small industries. Government wants the protection and you can say the development of this particular sector. So this is not made possible. Why? Because the private sector banks are not contributing in that development of these all areas. They are using the funds as per their own choice. They are using the funds to make profit only. So thus the nationalization of banks ensure that the availability of the resources is available or you can say the availability of the resources for the planned priority sectors which is planned by the government or priority sectors for the development of the priority sector. So the resources are available, the fund of the public is available for the priority sector. So there is a possibility to for the development of this priority sector. Otherwise, the development cannot be made possible. Why? Because the public sector banks are using the funds in to make profit only. The next objective is about the greater mobilization of deposit. As we just discussed that the mobilization rate is very low before nationalization and even the rate is low. Out the deposit rate is very low, especially in the rural areas or the you can say the backward areas. Out of the total deposits, just 25% deposit is from the rural areas. Thus, remaining 75% deposit is from the developed areas or you can say from the urban areas. And again, the second limitation is that this 25% deposit of the rural areas is again goes in the hand of the urban area in the way of loan. Here, the public private sector banks is collecting the fund from the rural areas, that is 25% of the total deposits, and again they are lending the fund to the urban areas. Means this 25% again goes in the hand of the urban areas. So because of this limitation, to remove these types of limitation and to increase the mobilization of deposit in the rural areas and to establish more and more branches especially in the unbanked areas or you can say the underbanked areas or the rural areas. So because of this all objectives, the nationalization was the need of that time. So if this is so, then only the mobilization of the rural saving can be possible, otherwise not. So because of this objective, the nationalization was done. The next objective is advanced loan to agricultural sector. You can say this is just the sub part of this topic, that is a social control. Yeah, or this is directly related with this topic also, that to reduce the misuse of saving of public. This topic says that advance must be given to the agricultural sector. As we discussed that in the 5 years plan, generally the agricultural sector is the focus of the government. Why? Because most public are population of the India depends on the agricultural. Clear? Now if the banks are faced to assist the agricultural in many ways, like agriculture cannot be prosper, that too a country like India where you all aware about that the 70% of the population or you can say minimum 60% of the population is depends on the agricultural. So to provide the need means here the financial need. To satisfy the financial need of the agricultural sector is must be the plan priority of the banks or of the all plan of the all the banks. But this is not so before nationalization. They are granting the loan especially to the big industries, especially to the big houses. Clear? They are not granting the loan to the agricultural sectors. So because of this limitation, the need arises that if it is a public sector bank, then the fund can be used as per the plan or as per the projects of the government. So this is a need that nationalization become essential part of the time. The next is the balanced regional development. As we discussed that there is not a balanced regional development at that time. According to the data, most of the branches were opened already in the developed areas in a country. Certain areas remain backward for the lack of the financial resources and the credit facilities. Banks are not ready to provide the credit facilities in the in the rural areas, or you can say in the underdeveloped areas. Private banks neglect the backward areas because of the poor business potentials and the profit opportunities. Private banks focus on the aspects of profit only. They are granting the loan where the profit is high. They are not granting the loan of you can say the backward areas to do the development procedures. So the nationalization helps to provide the bank finance in such a way to achieve the balanced inter-regional development and to remove the regional disparities. Clear? If nationalization was done, if private banks are converted into the public sector bank and they are ready to provide the fund to the backward areas, then only the development become the possible. Otherwise the development is not possible. To do the development of that backward areas and to fulfill the objective of the balanced regional development, the nationalization become the need of that time. The next objective is about the greater control by the Reserve Bank. As we all know that the India is a developing country, here there is a need for exercising a strict control over the credit which is created by a bank. Why? Because if no control will be there, then of course all the credits of the bank will be given to already developed areas to make more and more profit. If banks are under the control of the government, it becomes easy for the central government also to bring about the coordinated credit control. So here the government can launch the new policy for the betterment of the underdeveloped areas or backward areas. Clear? So if the government wants to help these types of areas, so it is necessary that there must be control over the credit which is given by the banks. If no control will be there, so the banks are not ready to help the government. Why? Because ultimate objective of any bank is just to earn the profit. So these necessitate the nationalization of banks in the achievements of their expected goals. What is the expected goal here? The expected goal here is about the development, and for the development of this underdeveloped areas or the backward areas, the control required. Clear? So here control is done by the Reserve Bank. And the last objective about the nationalization of bank is about the greater stability in the banking structure. Nationalization banks are sure to command a more confidence with the customer about the safety of their deposits. Clear? As you all know that the deposit insurance scheme was started by RBI, Reserve Bank of India, to provide maximum protections to the customer who is depositing the money with lots of confidence in the bank. So to provide the confidence, or to increase the level of the confidence, or to give better services to the customer, the RBI started this deposit insurance scheme. But this is the scheme only and only for the nationalized bank. This is not the scheme for any private banks. So if the customer wants to increase the confidence level, so ultimately there is a need that their bank must be a nationalized bank. Beside this, the planned development of the nationalized bank will be impart greater stability for the banking structure. Why? Because you can see a balance is there. Why? Because the base is there, the security is there. Clear? If government is attached with the banking facility, so there is a you can say there is a safety of the deposit. There is a base that will increase the confidence level, and ultimately the deposit is going to increase. Why? Because confidence is increased. So if the deposit is going to increase, the funds that is within the hand of the bank is going to be increased. If fund with the bank is going to be increased, then ultimately the better use of the fund is made possible. The more and more deposit mobilization is possible, and ultimately the development of the country is possible. So to further greater stability in the banking structure, and with this the bank will also earn more and more profit. Yes, so this will provide the stability in the banking structure. So for this objective, the need arises that most of the bank must be the nationalized bank, so the funds of the public can be used in a better way. So these all are the reasons, or these all are the objectives of the nationalization of the banks in India. This is the end of the topic. In the next lecture, we are going to start with the topic that is achievements of the nationalization of bank. After nationalization, what are the achievements of that nationalized bank. And this question is very very IMP, as you can see that this question is asked so many times in VNSG examinations. So this is from the examination point of view, this is the IMP topic. And what we did in today's lecture we have started with our chapter number 2, that is the nationalization of banks. In that we discussed that what are the outlines of the topic that we are going to study in this chapter, or what are the contents that we are going to study in this chapter. After that we have started with the topic that is the nationalization of banks. In that we discussed the meaning of the nationalization, that nationalization is a process of the conversion of private sector bank into the government bank. Then we discuss about, you can say, the history of the nationalization. In that we discussed about the nationalization of these 23 banks that we already discussed in chapter number 1. After that we have started with the topic that is the reasons or the objective behind the nationalization of banks, that for what objective or for what reason the nationalization was done. In that we discussed these 8 points. That first one is the to reduce the monopoly practices. The second one, the social control was not adequate. The third one, to reduce the misuse of the savings. Next, the greater mobilization of the deposit. And next is advance loan to the agricultural sector, balanced regional development, greater control by the Reserve Bank, and the greater stability of banking structure. We discuss all these points one by one in detail. That first point is to reduce the monopoly practices. How? If it is possible to exploit the bank sources if the private banks are there, but these types of exploitation is not possible if it is a public sector bank, and the new bank can be entered in the market very easily. So ultimately the competition will be increased. How the new bank can enter in the market? Because the financial assistance will be given by the banks to that type of business. If financial assistance will be given by a bank to that type of business, then ultimately more and more business unit will start and the competition will increase, and ultimately the monopoly is going to be reduced. The second point is about the social control was not adequate. Why it is not adequate? Because private sector banks are not in the burden to follow the rules and regulation which is given under the social control. But if it is a nationalized bank, so they are bound to follow the rules and regulation of the social control. So because of this objective, it become necessary. The third objective, to reduce the misuse of the savings of the public. As we all know that we are depositing our money in the hand of the banker with lots of the trust, and it should be used in a better way for the betterment of the society and for the betterment of the country. But it is not possible if it is a private sector bank. The government is not in the condition to use that fund in the planned priority sectors. So because of these reasons, to reduce the misuse of the funds which is saved by the public in bank, there is a need arise to do the nationalization process. After that, we discuss about the greater mobilization of deposits, that if we want to increase the mobilization rate of the deposits, especially in the underbanked and the backward areas, so there should be need arise that more and more branches should be opened in that particular areas, but private sector banks are not ready to open the branches in that area, so ultimately the mobilization rate is very low. So if it is a public sector bank, then only the mobilization of the deposit with a greater level is possible. Then we discussed that advance loan to the agricultural sector. As we all know, in India, most of the population is depend on the agriculture for their livelihood. So financial assistance must be given in that sector. So then only the development of the nation will be possible. Why? Because the agricultural sector is in the priority sector of India. Then we discussed that the balanced regional development, to reduce you can say the unbalanced development or unbalanced regional development. The nationalization is you can say the need arise at that time. Why? Because the private sector banks neglect the backward areas, or you can say the poor business areas. Why? Because the profit objectives are not fulfilled if they are going to provide the fund, or if they are going to start the banking business in the backward areas. So they are focusing on profit only. So their need arise that if the government wants to reduce the underdevelopment, if the government wants to reduce the unbalanced development or unbalanced regional development, so it must be a public sector bank that performing, that going to be performed in this objective. Then we discuss about the greater control by RBI, Reserve Bank of India. If they are public sector banks, then only they are under the control of RBI. Private sector banks are not in the, you can say, the burden of the follow the rules of RBI. But if nowadays, if the private sector bank is also the scheduled bank, then they have to follow the rules and regulation of RBI. Then the last topic that we discussed, that greater stability must be there in the banking structure, and for that stability, the nationalization was the need. Why? Because if the confidence will increase amongst the customer, then only the deposits will increase, then only the funds will increase with the bank, then only the better use of the funds will be possible, then only the credit facility will increase, and this all depends on the confidence, and the confidence will increase if it is a public sector bank. So ultimately, for the stability, the need arises that there must be a nationalization of the banking structure in India. So this is the end of the topic. We are going to meet in the next lecture with the new topic. Till then, stay home, stay safe, start learning. Have a good day. Thank you.